Hello YouTube, I'm back again with another video. This time I'm doing an updated version of my purple Kaido deck profile. As you notice, I rearranged my deck after OPO 8, and I'm trying to make my deck more versatile, consistent, and give it enough rep and curve in order to play the way how it should, in order to have a chance to actually be able to compete. And in my eyes, based on the cartridges that I picked, I feel like are the best cartridges. So rather than just me rambling on, I'm gonna proceed and continue and move forward. Obviously, we're gonna max out on the 3 Black Maria from OPO 8. Again, very important card. Essentially, it helps whenever you minus a bunch of Dawn. So basically, you rest up to 5 Dawn. You rest up to 5 Dawn onto your field from your Dawn deck, and they are rested. And then you shuffle Dawn from your shuffle Dawn cards from your area until you have equal amount as your opponent's Dawn. So you can retrieve pretty much all the Dawn that you lost if your opponent's at 10 and you manage to get, and you have 5 Dawn in the field. You can put 5 Dawn and you're back up to 10. Also, again, it is a 2k counter as well, just to let you guys be aware. But a lot of times you prefer to have one on field just in case, because you can only use its effect unless you only have one on the field, one Black Maria. But being able to go on equal footing with your opponent, again, is very important. Some people may say this card is broken, but at the same time, it gives purple a purpose to actually compete, because it actually helps cover its weakness. Another card that covers the deck's weakness is Charlotte Pudding, which I'm playing 3 of. I feel like I don't need too many since I can search it. Basically, during my turn, once per turn, when a Dawn card on my field returns to the Dawn deck, I get to add 1 Dawn card from my Dawn deck to the area rested. The reason why I'm playing, although yes, it is rested, the reason why I'm playing this, since you could summon an early game, which is very important. Sometimes you might attack with this, sometimes you won't. But if you know you're gonna minus Dawn, this will come in handy because it helps you stack up even more Dawn along with your Onigashima Island, and with other cards that make you minus cards. And although it may not be better compared to certain cards, being able to have a card that you can fetch as well as it helps you ramp for Dawn is good enough, although it may be rested. Obviously, we're playing a playset of the 2k counter ulti. You guys know the drill. We're going to our page 1 combo. Some people may think it's not that relevant, but being able to play an extra body really does give the deck an advantage, although that may not happen. But the way I play my deck, because of course you got to play the minimum 50, but it gives you the opportunity in order to push for games. So this deck wants to push in order to give the opportunity to actually being able to contend with the stronger decks. For our blocker, playing Trafalgar Law from the 3 captains, which is a 4 cost, has a 5k power. But on play, you minus a Dawn. If your opponent has 7 more cards in hand, you trash 2 cards from their hand. So the thing is, the one thing I will say is that one thing that makes this card really nice, you get to choose which 2 cards out of the hand you get to trash. But it only works unless they have 7 or more cards in. But a lot of times, of course, they're going to stack up their cards in hand, which gives them a huge advantage. But the first thing you do is ask, and once you do, you discard those 2 cards. For our 2k counter, we're playing X-Drake, another card that helps you trash a card, but your opponent chooses, unfortunately. One thing I dislike about it, it's not even because it's a 2k counter, but it's a 5 body, but I wish it had more power, in my opinion. Because I feel like a 5k is usually best if you're playing a 4 or a 3 cost. And not much say the vanilla Vage one, just because for its power. We're playing another blocker, which is a new blocker again. 2 Eustace Kid, similar to Pudding, but unfortunately can't search it. Basically, whenever you minus a Dawn, you get to add, whenever a Dawn is returned from your field to the Dawn deck, you get to play one Dawn active. And I wish I could play more of it. But the thing is, I feel like I don't want to put too many high costs in the deck, because I think that's also what's going to give purple the issues. If you have too many high costs, you don't have enough setup. So you literally have to wait 3 turns before you can actually play this card, which is really unfortunate. So I want to have at least be able to play something, at least on my going first or second, which most of the time, if you're going first, you're most likely playing, we're going to claim the One Piece. Not too much, since we don't have, unfortunately, enough 2 cost, which there are none, unfortunately. But if there was a good 2 cost, that's the only way this deck could actually be able to play a lot more early game. But overall, this deck does want to push. Purple wants to be able to do as much powerful plays as possible. Sometimes you gotta have these high cost cards, not too many of them, but only if they actually make a huge difference in the game. A card that actually does make a huge difference in the game is the R5 cost Purple Queen blocker. Again, not much to say. There's no exception you gotta play for this card. Again, on play, you -1 Dawn, you draw 2 cards, and you trash 1 from your hand. Another card that's new to deck, which came from OPO 8, similar to Black Mirror and Charlotte Pudding, we're playing a playset of the 7 cost 8k power King. And I think this is way better than so I'm not playing the 6 cost King, because I feel that card is heavily powerful, but it's like a smaller Kaido, like 9 cost. It's like a smaller 9 cost Kaido. Basically, you minus a Dawn and it gains rush the turn that you play it. So on play, you minus Dawn, it can attack that turn. So I feel like this is a card that will help heavily impact the deck and come out on top, especially during the late game. That's something that the 6 King cost was really lacking, and I feel more comfortable drawing to this than the other King. A card that I feel happy and comfortable drawing into is Charlene. I feel like you just need to play 2, since you can easily search it out. Simply because, again, the card gives you more coverage. It doesn't really do much on the turn. Is summon. It doesn't really inflict enough damage, because this is what the deck is actually trying to go for. But has a unique ability. You minus a Dawn on play. You trash a card. You trash a card. You add the top card of your deck to your life, and then you can place 1 card your opponent you can place 1 character your opponent controls at the bottom of their life, which happens to cost 6 or less, face up. And obviously our game ender, which also happens to be another high end. I'm making sure not to play too many hands, but I need to make sure I have a good amount of high ends, so that I have a chance actually doing something. There's really not much to explain to you guys, but you know how this card works. On play, you -5 Dawn, you get to KO 1 character your opponent controls, one character your opponent controls that costs 6 or less. Also, and if you do, this card gains rushing up. So not only being able to get rid of a character, but it's able to attack that turn as well. But at the same time, it's like, although you gotta take a 5 Dawn, that's why you're also playing a lot more RAM too, and which is why it is important to have this card in the main deck. Some people think they feel comfortable just playing 2, but I think 3 is the better option, just so to have the chance to actually kill your opponent before they end you. Another card that obviously can help end your opponent are 2 10 cost purple Kaidos from OPO 1. This one, again obviously costs more Dawn. On play, you -6, you destroy all other characters on the field. So just in case you feel like you might lose next turn, or you're gonna have a major disadvantage, the first thing you want to do, for those who are not aware, who might have not heard from me before, but you want to attack with all your characters first without using any of your Dawn. And when you do, you use all your Dawn, then you'll be able to blow up everything. But the only time you do that, unless you know your opponent has a chance of killing you, or they have too many characters on the field. So that's usually your best bet. And then this card can actually give you a lot of advantage, I think, although you gotta minus a lot more Dawn, but sometimes it can actually help you push for more advantage of which you want to see with this deck. So it doesn't really hurt to be able to have the 10 cost card, but it can be situational, but also like it could put you at risk, or it could put your opponent more at risk depending on their hand too. For our last 10 cost bottle, we're playing the Purple Luffy. Some people may be confused as to why. He's a really good side like tech option, and he is very spicy in the deck because he's another card that can help you finish off your opponent, as well as help you ramp. That's what we're looking forward to in this deck. But on top of that, on play, you minus. So let me show you how the deck works. Oops. You minus 10 Dawn. Place all of your characters except this character at the bottom deck in your order, then take an extra turn after this one. So basically what you want to do is like it does synergize with Onigashima. So the first thing you want to do is attack with all your characters obviously before you play into this, and then minus all your Dawn. From there, play Onigashima before you head into your next turn, and you'll retrieve some of that Dawn back. Go into your next turn, essentially get to your opponent's next turn's skip, essentially, and then you get to draw a card and get an additional attack along with your leader. And this card gets to attack that turn well, since your opponent's turn has already been passed. And you can even build with this deck, you can even build up for more ramp, or from there you just want to outright end your opponent, and that's usually your best bet with this card. But in case you feel like you don't have enough ramp, usually this is the best way to go, since you're going to be minusing a lot of cards and stuff. But at the same time, it's like this card gives you options in how you want to utilize it in this deck. And although it may fit perfectly Purple Luffy, but there are times where you need that extra ramp, and it's more than just entirely using that one effect. You want to be able to decide which effect is better depending on the situation. And we've already done other characters, we're just going to go straight to our events. Obviously, no exception, you gotta play 3 0 cost event Gum Jet Gatling. You trash a card from your hand, and one of your characters or your leader gains 3,000 during that battle, and then you're on trigger. You can basically add one Dawn from your deck and set it as active. We're also going to obviously max out on our starter, which happens to be, we're going to claim the One Piece again during your main. You look at the top 5, you add one Big Mom Pirate card or Animal Kingdom Pirate card, which also includes your Pudding, your 2 Big Mom, which are Big Mom Pirate cards. And you look at the top 5, you add one of them to your hand, and pretty much on trigger you activate this main effect. So essentially the same thing occurs again. And obviously, last but not least, our stage card, definitely no exception, you gotta max on this card. Although you can only, unfortunately, just play one. This actually helps you set up the way the deck is supposed to, and be able to push for more advantage. And that's really what it's come to. Like, although yes, you can win without Onigashima, but there are times you really want to see it, because it's the fact that it's giving you more Dawn, and the more Dawn you have, the more characters you can set up, the more Dawn you can use to power up your characters, your leader. But it puts you ahead, so that's the reason why people want to see this card, because it puts you far ahead than your opponent, than you couldn't even imagine how. But like, the first thing is like, yes, you're not always going to see it, but it can make the most out of the situation. Like, depending, like, whoever you're up against, even if you're up against someone who's really tough, who's playing aggressive deck, this card itself can make it where it's like, it can turn the deck a lot more aggressive than the deck that's already competing in playing at its best. It's so that Onigashi makes it better than the potential like best decks, depending how your turn goes, because you want to set up as early as possible, ramp as much Dawn as you can, and you could take advantage of the competition. And even if that deck manages to swing games, this deck gives it the opportunity to swing game at that deck. If they cannot be able to keep up with the pace of the strategy utilizing Onigashi. But sorry. But overall, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to check for more upcoming content later in the future. Comment, like, subscribe. Thank you.